Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, August 2nd, and I will tell you this much. I have woken up. My alarm went off at 10. My wife woke me up at 10:30. And I woke up with, I guess the only way I can describe it is the equivalency of a minor migraine. I mean, this whole side of my face, my sinus cavity up above my eye, even a little bit lower than my eye, just feels like somebody tried to dig that whole section of my face out with a spoon or something. It's just like it. I took medication and whatnot. I'm hoping it goes away, but man, is it like just, I don't even know how to describe the pain other than just annoyingly constant. Like I can't rub my eye without it hurting a little bit. I can't scratch my nose without it hurting. I can't blow my nose without it hurting. I have never, ever had a migraine in my life. So if this is the equivalency of a migraine, it sucks. Just to put it mildly, it's not something I'm enjoying. Jerry at first thought it was stress and had me do my blood pressure, and it's slightly elevated, but yeah, well, when you're hurting and you're in discomfort, your stress levels and whatnot are going to be a little bit higher than normal. Jerry at first was like, "You sure it's not something I did?" I'm like, "No, I woke up this way. This is not something you did, because I don't wake up feeling aggravating pain or anything like that, unless it's something that happened in the middle of the night, or just something that's building up because of, we're getting into the fall. We're getting close to that time of the year where I start having late summer, early fall type allergy issues. And being that there's a lot of changes that has happened in this house before the allergy season happened, I don't know if it's because the factor my sinuses or whatnot are not used to the room, or I need to do some cleaning in the room. I don't know what the deal is. For as I know, I could have been laying on that particular side with my hand just right into my eye socket to cause some physical discomfort. I don't know what it is. Yesterday was an interesting day. I had been doing some work in the kitchen, some light work in the kitchen, and had to empty out my garbage can. And when I went out to empty my garbage can, I was hearing this noise, and the only way I can describe it without giving away the what it was, it sounded like either a cat in distress or a kitten looking for mom. And when I ID'd the sound and or at least ID'd its location, I went out to off my carport onto my walkway to the Arcadia door, and I looked up, and sitting on the telephone pole right across the street from my house, literally a stone's throw away, was one of my hawks. And he was, I guess, territorial cries or cries of warning or something of that nature. In fact, what little I could see of him through my phone, because I did take a picture of him, he looked like a juvenile, like he's from this year's brooding, however you want to put it. So he might have been calling out for mom, or the thing was, is I heard him, and then in the trees behind my neighbor's house, I could hear another one. So I don't know if they were talking to each other. That, in fact, there was a third one flying high overhead. So I don't know what the calling out back and forth was all about. From what I've heard of other hawks in zoos and in documentaries, is the sounds that he was making was more like and alerts sound like danger alert type, situation. And so I got a snapshot of that and a short little 1 minute video of him, and you can barely hear it in the background, the other one. And I did that mostly for Jerry, not only because of the factor of my joy of it, but every time I can think of something that I see or happens that brings some sort of joy, I try to bring it to Jerry, because she is not able to sit in her usual spot in the living room where she would have been able to see him in the first place. So, because I don't know if she would have been able to see him or not, because the tree was kind of in the way. So I brought that into her to let her see the picture and watch the little video. Of course, it brought some tears to her eyes because she can't get out of the room and enjoy it herself. So I kind of felt a little sorry for her. She knows how much I enjoy nature, and she enjoys it when I try to bring it into her. But yeah, Jerry's doing a little bit better. She was having some shoulder problems the last 2 days, and we used some of the cream on her. I keep on calling it Vitorin. It's not. It's Voltaren or something like that. They sound the same to me. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I apologize for that little flub. The last couple days I've been talking about it. But yesterday's cooking video, which should come out today or tomorrow, was pork chops. Yeah, some people might be thinking, oh, pork chops, and everybody knows how to make pork chops. No, this is pork chops Norwegian style. It's basically it's boiled and sliced fingerling potatoes, mint leaves or sprigs, orange slices, blood oranges, but I don't have blood oranges, so I use regular oranges. And well, you've probably already seen the video by now, because this will come out after that video, but it was delicious. It was a very yummy dish. Today I'm doing, today's going to be Fend for Yourself, so there will be no cooking video for Monday. The reason why I do a Fend for Yourself, and usually I do it on a Sunday, is that way, one, we can clean out any leftovers from the refrigerator. Two, it gives me a chance to sit down, create a menu for the next week, write out all the items I need for the menu items, double check my stores to make sure I have what I need, and if I don't have what I need, I can plan a quick and easy, non-expensive shopping spree where I get mostly produce, because we run out of produce easily around this house when I do my Nordic dishes. One of the things that I would like to do sometime this week is I need to go into my pantry and rearrange my pantry so it's easier on me access wise, as well as putting stuff away. And mostly it just needs to be straightened out. It does not need a total overhaul. It just needs to be straightened. I need to clean up one little area. I need to fix another area. I need to put like items in their baskets so I don't have like chili mixed with beans, or beans mixed with canned corn, or that kind of thing. So it's just a lot of times when we do our shopping hauls, I get into this rampage of getting it into where it's supposed to go and not even think about the organizational aspect or the clean aspect or anything like that. I just try to get it into the cabinet so it's out of my way. And I'm starting to realize I have to slow down. Canned goods are not a priority to put away. So if you slow down and wait till you're not feeling in a rush to put away canned goods, but they're not laying all over the place to be a clutter, that's fine and dandy. It's the freezer refrigeratable stuff that has to get put away in a timely manner so it doesn't defrost to a danger zone or anything like that. So it's one of those. Okay. Yeah. Same with the refrigerator, freezer. Sometimes I get into such a like trying to put it away so it doesn't defrost or anything like that. Every so often, Jerry-Ann has to go into, Jerry-Ann or myself has to go into the freezer, our big freezer out in the mud room, to organize it so it doesn't look like whodunit ran. And our kitchen fridge freezer combo needs a little bit of TLC because it's been, yeah. That's one of the things I have learned from American Cozy and Howdy Hagee is you sometimes just have to slow down, take your time getting stuff put away nice and neat, but don't like waste your time doing it. And a lot of things I've been realizing lately since I've been doing the bulk of the cooking and whatnot, because things aren't neat and organized and whatnot, I have spent more time wasted trying to find ingredients for dinner than just going in there and going, okay, this is here, this is there, you know. Excuse me. I think about resting these. And I'm not even burning anything right now. Wow. My day today is kind of semi planned out. Basically, do this, get some breakfast and whatnot going, and then it's either I'm gonna spend a portion of the day doing my own stuff, and then a portion of the day basically excuse you. I heard a noise, sound like somebody talking outside. Basically, what I want to do is I want to try to make Jerry comfortable and happy. So I'm going to be going into the guest room, or not guest room, our room. Boy, do I feel out of sorts all of a sudden. I'm going to go into our room and try to help her clean up and straighten up some of the stuff that she's constantly looking at, that she's becoming uncomfortable with because it looks out of sorts. It's a little bit of a clutter. It's a little bit of issue. It's an issue basically. And since I am not spending 24/7 in that room, I'm kind of like, okay, we'll get to it. And she'll remind me, and she'll be like, no pressure, I just on your time. And I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. But what's happening is I'm telling her, sure, no problem, I'll come in and do it soon. Is I'll get distracted by the rest of the house, that parts of the house that I spend most of my time in. And I'm like, I need to do as much as I can. One of the things I had hoped I was going to be able to do today, but I don't think I'm going to, is run up to the consignment shop to drop off a bunch of clothes. But I think what I need to do before that is I need to bring the clothes back inside, and go through the bags as best as we can, and pull out the cleaner, newer dress type clothing and whatnot. That stuff will go to the consignment shop, and the rest of it I'm just going to take to Goodwill. Jerry-Ann and I decided to forego the idea of a yard sale and just take it to a consignment shop or to a yard sale, or not a yard sale, to Goodwill, and let them deal with it, because it's causing an issue. It's causing me stress. It's turning my vehicle into a target for anybody who wants to break in and rob me. Which I highly doubt will ever happen here in Rolla, but still, it's one of those. As I said to Jerry-Ann, we need to do something with stuff, because I feel like I'm driving, every time I go out in our car, I feel like I'm driving a mobile storage unit, and it's uncomfortable. It's just psychologically just unsettling. So we finally got into the, let's just take it to Goodwill or take it to the consignment shop, get some money for it. She called the consignment shop here in town and said, "Oh yeah, we need plus size clothes because there's a lot of plus size people here in Raleigh. I'm not trying to make fun of plus size people, but I see a lot of plus size people every time I go to Walmart. Now, a lot of people joke about Walmart. It's like, oh yeah, Walmart is it's for all the, and people want to start putting labels on other people. People with funny money problems, people who are overweight, people who are just whatever. And I kind of go, you know what? That. I don't like that because it's a combination of making fun of other people and the fact that I go to Walmart. You know why I go to Walmart? Well, because Walmart for most parts is a one-stop shopping place. You can go in there and get most of all your foods. You can go in there and get clothing. You can go in there and deal with electronics, your automotive, your sporting goods, your pharmaceuticals, and your garden center. It's a one-stop shopping place. I think Walmart, when they did that, was a brilliant idea. It won in today's modern day world. It saves time because then you're not having to go, okay, I need to go over here to my shopping center for my food, then I need to go over here for my pet food, then I need to go over here for my clothing, and then I need to go stop at AutoZone for my auto parts, then I need to go over here to the outdoor center for my sporting goods, or over here to the family farmers market, whatever, for whatever. My garden, I have to run up to the garden center for my gardening supplies. No, you go to Walmart, you get everything right there, and boom, you're done. You're saving money. I think you're saving money, but you're definitely saving time because it's like, I know when I go, or me and Jerry go into Walmart and we're looking for specific stuff that's dotted throughout the store, we might be in the store for a good hour or two, just finding the stuff that we need, or looking at some of the stuff that, like, oh, this is new, let's look at it. That's usually Jerry. Me, I'm like, I have my list, I know what I'm looking for, I know what I'm getting, boom, 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 I'm out. It takes me maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how crowded the store is, or how easily I'm sidetracked by the newest, latest, games or videos or whatever. If I know I need clothes, I go straight to the men's department. I get what I need, put it in my basket, boom. If I know what groceries I need, I go through the grocery department, grab those items, boom, I'm done. You have to bypass, either go up front and hope I can bypass all the customers waiting in line to get pharmaceuticals, or go down along the back wall where electronics are and hope that I don't get distracted because I need to go over and get vitamin E, my pharmaceuticals. Stop in the garden center for more bird seed or something like that. But that's my typical shopping. Is if I'm going by myself and it's not a site to store pickup or grocery pickup or whatever, I'm just like, done. That's just me. So, the problem is that we found out recently, and I have to slow down, or I have to be a little bit more mindful, is the one credit card that we were using to buy groceries is starting to get to its limit because we had to use it to pay. This is my robbing Peter to pay Paul type syndrome. I had to use the credit card that we use for shopping, our personal shopping, to pay for a bill. It happens. Am I happy about it? Not quite. But because of, for Jerry Ann, it's the way she grew up, and times when it was lean around her house, it was peanut butter and fluff sandwiches, or macaroni and cheese for their meal. I had a stretch of time when I was living on my own where it was barbecue sandwiches, just barbecue sauce on bread, or ramen noodles, or PB&J sandwiches. So I think our problem is we both have gone through a period in our life where we understand what it means to live literally on nothing. And I think that's one of the reasons why we shop the way we shop sometimes is we bulk up on stuff even though we don't have that much room, because we don't want to fall into that surviving off of PB&J and macaroni and cheese and cheap stuff. I don't want to belittle the cheap stuff because sometimes that cheap stuff is great for, let's say, college kids, high school kids, young adults who are trying to make it on their own for the first time in their life and they don't know how to balance a budget. But my thing is, as I told Jerry, I don't worry about the bills as long as I have clothes on my back, roof over my head, and food in my refrigerator, food to eat. Those are kind of like the three essentials in my brain. I do understand having to pay for the mortgage and having to pay the bills and whatnot, so you don't get slapped with a late charge or, God forbid, threaten to have your electricity, your utility shut off. I understand those factors, and I understand those are things that has to be done in modern day times to live in a house or not be taken to court for bankruptcy or something like that. I've already dealt with that once. Don't feel like doing it again. But right now, life is good. I mean, yeah, we have our aches and pains, we have our headaches, we have our issues. Sorry, I just made a correlation. The pain that I've been suffering, that I told you about just a few minutes ago, it's subsiding. And all I've done so far, besides take my morning meds with some Advil and drink a cup of coffee, the issue is going away until I look up at that light. Then I'm like, put a patch over that eye. Which I already had to live a short period of my lifetime in my youth with a patch over my eye. Which is an interesting story. Basically what it was is we got to Germany and my father noticed I was having vision problems and went to the eye doctor on base, and he said, "Oh yeah, your son has lazy eye. It's not as bad as some cases, but it's a simple fix." Well, that simple fix was I was having like 20/40, 20/60, some really weird eyesight problem. And what they did was, first off, they gave me glasses. I was wearing glasses for a long period of time throughout my childhood to make my good eye better. Or no, my bad eye better. And what they did was the good eye, and I can't remember if it was left or right. I'd have to go back and look at some pictures of Germany. But for a couple months or so, I had a patch basically over on the glasses or over my eye, or they basically made sure that I couldn't see anything out of that one side of the glasses to basically correct the lazy eye problem. So yeah, that was kind of fun. Actually, was it more than a couple months? Was it a year or was it a couple months? I don't remember how long I had to wear that patch, but it was just like, oh, yay, great, I have an eye patch. So basically, when I wasn't wearing the glasses, I had to have an actual eye patch. And granted, the only time I wasn't wearing the glasses was basically when I was sleeping. And because of the person I was, or the the way life was for me as a child. It wasn't hardcore. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't abusive. No, at least not physically abusive. Psychologically abusive. It might have been. It might have been, and I don't blame my parents for that. I blame that on the way the world was back in the 70s. And nowadays, I blame things on the way the world is because we've become too soft on our children. But that's my opinion. But I was disciplined enough. Not disciplined as in I got a spanking every time I didn't have my glasses on, but disciplined enough that if my parents would say, "Hey, Jimmy, where's your glasses?" I would go get them. But that was Germany was fun just in general, not just because of the medical issues or procedures or things I had to have done medically, but because of it was a grand adventure. Germany was a grand adventure for my family as when we were there back in the 80s. I think the only thing about Germany that I did not really care for was the what they called war games drill. The reason why is because the factor during the war games drills that the military did, it was basically to prepare military families for the possibility of the Soviet Union from the Eastern Bloc evading our going to war again during the Cold War era. And it was scary at times, but at other times it was just like, oh, okay, we're doing this again. So every 6 months or so, they had what they call war game drills. So all active duty military personnel had to be on base. They had to be at their duty stations at the ready for whatever. Any family members of the military personnel had to be they had to come onto base, basically into base housing, temporary housing and whatnot. No, actually we didn't. No, mom and I, when we were living off base, stayed in our little town. And Dad would end up spending like 4 or 5 days straight on base at his duty station. No, they did not have to stay away for the whole duration. They slept on cots or whatever while they were on base. But I remember one year, one of the other GI kids, as I call them nowadays, they were doing their drill in the middle of summertime, and we were just gallivanting around Alt Lake, and we ran across something that we were like, "What is that in the woods? What is that in the woods?" So we started approaching, and it was basically camouflage over a group of like a small encampment of GIs off base with they didn't have the artillery cannons, but it was set up to have artillery cannons, artillery units there. And at first I didn't know if they were American or not because they called out in German. And I recognized the word too because it was one of the first words I learned in German, which was halt. Everybody knows what halt is. And we were just like, what? And we heard, and I did not recognize the words at first, but I was like, and as it was getting repeated, I was like, "Nicht verstehen," which is a term for don't understand. And one of the GIs must have recognized either me or the other kid and went, "Hey, get over here, guys, get over here, get out of the road." So we went there and they told us we shouldn't be around the area, that, it's our parents should have told us to stay indoors or keep close to home because it's that time of the year for these practice sessions. And I didn't really know because my dad only said that they're doing drills. That's what he called it, drills. And well, after getting a little bit of an earful of, not giving details, but they were like, hey, we're doing drills, as they called it again. They didn't want to scare us by saying war game practice. So it was like, okay, sure. And we ended up leaving that little bunker or whatnot, with Hershey bars. So I was like, oh, okay, that's fun. But what me and my friend did is, I don't know how he got a hold of it, but he got a hold of some of that camouflage and camouflage netting that's supposed to cover the whole area. He got a good, I'd say 8 foot by 8 foot section of it somehow. And there was, where he was living outside of his house, he found, or on the property where he was living, he found this underground little bunker that somebody must have built, to crawl into and hide. And he turned it into a little bit of a fort or of sorts, and used that 8x8 camouflage to cover up the entrance point, which was smart, but we had fun with it. And the other thing I remember at Germany that was so fun was, getting to go to see all the different castles and travel around Germany just to see various locations and whatnot. Now that I after I grew up and whatnot, I wanted to go back to Germany in my 20s to do the same thing my one cousin did, which was to just backpack through Europe. 2 things that prevented that. 1, money, and people to go with. I wasn't going to go by myself. But money was the biggest factor. That factor at the time when I wanted to go, in my late teens, early 20s, there was a 90% chance of me not returning from Germany. I would have found a way to stay there and get a job and learn German and all that fun stuff. Well, as you can tell, that did not happen. Yes, I'm done with my coffee now. I'm drinking soda, which probably shouldn't be, but I want to. But the 3 years that we were in Germany was great. I mean, seeing how the Germans lived and how their houses looked like, and me remembering this stuff nowadays. Some people would sit there and go, oh, Europeans are minimalists. No, they're not really minimalists, but they just don't over decorate, they don't over shop. They work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and take their weekends off to spend with family and do family things. What I remember of how things were in Germany back in the 80s, I tell you what, I could live that way easily. Yes, their houses might look, their interior of their homes might look like minimalist and stark white colors and just drab, boring. But no. Because now that I look at it and think about how bright their kitchens were and how natural, neutral tones their living rooms and bedrooms were, and the fact that their homes, inside and out, were so immaculately clean, that was just crazy to be like, did my landlord, when we lived there, ever... She was an at-home mom of 2 little girls, but it was like, how does she balance her life between dealing with her children and keeping her house clean? Well, after reading American Cozy and Hagee, I'm like, okay, I see why. I see how they did it. Okay, I understand now. But, there are times where I think about these things and I go, man, wish I could live back in Germany. Wish I could live over there. Not just because of the factor of they have a lot more stuff that's better for the people than we do. The social medicine, the care of the people, the care of the nation. I remember going out one Saturday when we lived in Otway for just a walk around town, and here I am walking by these houses, and this one particular house and this one particular, they knew me through my landlady, and this one little old lady who was out there just sweeping up her carport and just going to town trying to clean up the outside of her house and sweeping and cleaning up the house, the outside of the house. She saw me and smiled and invited me in for a cation or cookie, cake, however you want to put it, sweets, you know. And back then, I not only was I an innocent type person, but I was also like very friendly, very upbeat, very like, oh yeah, sure, okay, you know. And not that I made it a habit to pass that house every Saturday, but Ollie was kind of a small town, and it only had like 5 or 6 main roads in and out of town or around town, and maybe 2. Well, there was the street going north towards the base, towards the Autobahn, and then there was a road going south towards Zell, towards the Mosel River. So there was only 2 major roads in and out of the town, but there was all the little streets through town, and they all interconnected. There was no like, oh, this is a dead end. They all interconnected somehow. But Olay was such as the way Olay was set and made and whatnot. I could me as a kid could easily walk it, even though it had some pretty good hills, in a couple hours, like 2 or 3 hours, maybe more. I don't remember, because when you're a kid, time does not seem to be a relevant thing in your head. You're just like, oh man, I've been out here for 5 hours. I didn't even realize it. I was just having so much fun. You know, you go out, you get up first thing in the morning, you go out and start doing your thing. The next thing you know, mom's calling you in, hey, lunch. Or, you know, after lunch, hey, you've been out for 6 hours, it's dinner time, get out here, get in here. You know, those kind of things. I enjoyed it. I loved my 3 years in Germany. I think somebody asked me once before if, you know, is there a favorite place that I have? Germany would have to be like within the first 2, because I loved my summers, my 2 summers in Yellowstone. I loved them. I don't know if it's because of the mountains or the environment that you find up in small mountain communities or European communities. We never lived in a big city in Germany, so I don't know what it would be like to live in Frankfurt or Munich or Ramstein or you know, any of the big cities. Bonn. Now that Berlin's opened up to, you know, East and West Germany are now reconnected as Germany. So like Berlin. I can think of a couple of different cities that I wouldn't mind visiting in Germany. Munich being one of them. Stuttgart. I remember Stuttgart. But Bonn was the capital of West Germany at the time, so it's like, capital, go check it out. I don't know if Bonn is still a capital, or if when Germany got reunified that Berlin became the capital of Germany, because it was originally the capital of Germany before divided east and west. But I don't know. I mean, it's like I'm turning 50 and I'm sitting there going, what places would I like to go see? Should I put them on my bucket list, or just not even think about them, because God only knows if I'll ever get the chance to go back over to Europe. It's nice to have a dream of going back over there and seeing. Jay and I both want to go traveling overseas, over to Europe. She wants to go to Greece because she's got family down there. I just want to check out different places because I don't know where I have family over there. I just know I have a connectivity there because of DNA and Ancestry, but I just, because of my last name and the various derivatives of my last name in the Nordic countries, as well as the Germanic countries, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, you know, Ancestry.com can only tell me so much about America, but because of my last name, it's hard to trace my lineage past a certain point. So I only have the DNA results to deal with. Now, if Mom could pinpoint family members or last name locations for McGoy, McDonald's, and there's a third one. McGoy is Irish, Scottish. McDonald, and I forgot the other one. They're both Scottish. Now, as for the English part of her heritage, which is now my heritage, we're not sure exactly where. We know that her father, my grandfather, Apel, is from Germany. Is German? I forgot where she said it was from, but it's got connections in Germany and in Britain. In fact, we were joking one time because I looked up some of the information that she had, name-wise, and Apel in Britain is synonymous with witchcraft. The Apels were chased out of Britain because they were condemned or charged with witchcraft. And I looked it up and I read more about it. And I said, no, it's not. It wasn't witch. It was considered by them during that time as witchcraft, but in actuality, it was using herbal concoctions and remedies for health purposes. But the local magistrate was like, no, that's witchcraft. You have to get out. You have to leave. Okay, fine. So, yeah. I was like, ooh, yay, okay, fun. Anywho, I've been on here chatting away with my brain waking up, for almost 43 to 44 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get off. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, you can put those in the question comment box. If you're new to my channel and somehow was able to enjoy this video or understand half of my babble, good for you. If you want to join, if you choose to join, you may. It is up to you. It is your choice. The only criteria I have for people who join is, one, try to be as positive as possible. 2, don't belittle or berate other people for their comments. And 3, no judgments. We all have our own different quirks or issues or differences. If you want to understand my frame of mind or my thoughts on my YouTube channel, is read a little bit up on the Vikings and how their personalities were and how they truly lived. Don't go by Marvel. Don't go by movies or anything like that. I had a picture once, basically, that put out the Viking or Norse attitude, which is basically same thing, almost like Christians. Love each other for who they are. Treat them like a brother or sister. And I know sometimes that people are like, oh, brothers and sisters argue and fight all the time. Yeah, but they're not really nasty about it. One of the things that I do and my wife would tell you, is if you're on my, put it this way, let's just put it this way. If you want to think like a Viking, or you think something like I am, like I live, I protect those who are behind me. I fight alongside with those who are next to me. But if you're in front of me, you're in my way, you're being negative, run, because I won't deal with it. But anyhow, it's just who I am. I'm tired of dealing with people who want to be negative and argumentative, and unless you can give me a legitimate rhyme or reason for your debunking or debating or wanting to argue with me on various points, you better have some good quality material to back me up, or back yourself up, or get me to change my mind. I've had a couple of people who tried to basically tell me that I was wrong, or I did not have all my information, and they only gave me a itty bitty window of information that they gained off the internet, and they gave me their website source. And I looked at that website source and I realized they're looking at a small window when that website source gave me a bigger window to say, no, you didn't look at all your information. You only half researched your information. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll take your resource information and look at it and go, okay, wait a minute, whoa, they didn't read this, they didn't read that. It's like the Bible. And yes, I am a Christian. I was born and raised a Christian. I am still Christian, even though I do look at a lot of my Nordic ancestral faith and beliefs and whatnot, and I incorporate and adapt them to who I am. The Bible is great. The Bible's got a lot of resource information and whatnot. The Bible's got a lot of good stuff in it. But there are so many people who want to just take this little itty bitty paragraph, or maybe just this one little section out of a big book of information and try to use it for their own purposes or whatnot. And it's like, no. I'm sorry. You gave me your book, chapter, and verse, and try to use that against me for whatever reasons, but you missed out on the rest of that paragraph, the rest of that story. Yeah, I do that. Anyhow, I'm gonna redo my exiting because my brain took me into a different realm of thought. Yeah, if you enjoyed the babblings and the stories and whatnot, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, be as positive as possible, because there's too much negativity in the world. We don't need to continue it or spread it or whatever. So let's try to be as positive as possible. If you're new to my channel and you think what I talk about, or think I have some interesting comments or whatnot, and you choose to join, that's your choice. I've already told you what I want in my channel, or what I hope is in my channel. You guys can go ahead and click that subscribe button, and a little bell pop up. And once you click on that bell, YouTube will let you know when I put in my next video. Sorry, yeah. Anyhow, you guys have a good day. Bye. Oh, you hear your mate calling, eh?